Putin News Now. For what reason aren't Russians protesting Putin en masse? We've never coordinated our actions with those of other groups. We do not belong to either the Western or Eastern great families, and we do not share their cultural traditions. Written in the first half of the 19th century, these are the words of Petr Chadayev, one of Russia's earliest dissidents. Dmitry Muratov, editor-in-chief of the much-persecuted newspaper Novaya Gazeta, and another prominent Russian dissident, spoke to the European Parliament on Monday, emphasizing that Vladimir Putin has shut Russia's door to Europe. The Russian intellectual elite, as in centuries past, is divided over whether to side with or oppose Europe. Since Europe is a melting pot of cultures and histories, the world's largest country has always felt like it belonged there. The European Union is seen as a symbol of progress and progressivism in Russia. Included in this mix are Russia's two main cultural currents, one enthusiastically pro-Western and the other fiercely anti-Western. Russian intellectuals rarely discuss Europe beyond the shallow desire or distaste for sharing an era and values with the rest of the continent. Being anti-European or anti-European today means you support political serfdom in Russia. Known unknowns and potential surprises. The fact that those on the outside tend to only discuss the elite parts of Russian society serves to further emphasize the fact that there are many Russias. Those with political power or significant material wealth are not the only people who can be considered part of Russia's elite. Artists and scientists are revered and admired by Russia's urban, educated population, making them part of the country's elite. Oxymoron, a rapper with a high IQ, is proof that Russia can produce anything. On the other hand, there are regular folks who are considered the masses by Russia's elites. For much of Russian history, the ruling class looked down on the masses as being uninformed, dangerous, or corrupt, but deep down, they all carried the same mysterious Russian soul that was both heroic and doomed to eternal hardship. Such myths are layered upon one another in Russia, with the incredulous archetypes being presented as fact to Western observers and eventually making their way into Western popular culture. Exhibiting is pointless at this point. Russia is not mysterious at all, in fact. That's yet another example of the Orientalist bias we need to combat. Its communities are rife with right-wing populism, not dissimilar from those found elsewhere in Eastern Europe. The only real distinction is that unlike other Eastern Europeans, Russians had the benefit of living under an empire. It's easy to overlook this crucial factor when trying to understand why Russians didn't protest when Putin began tightening his authoritarian grip on the country while maintaining the benevolent monarch facade. Putin's machinery may not be great at penetrating Ukraine's defenses, but Alexander Oki's writing suggests it is extremely effective at crushing the minds of Russian opposition activists.